Hello and welcome to the Tatted Tatter Crochet and Tatting Podcast. My name is Stephanie and I'm coming to you from my home in Southern California. And this is a podcast all about crochet, now knitting, the occasional cross stitch, and then of course tatting in theory. This is episode 17 and I have a million things to show you today, so we're gonna get straight to it. I didn't do a full episode last week. I tried really hard, but between the release of my new pattern, which I'll talk about, and having in-laws in town and all kinds of stuff going on, it didn't happen. But this was a slow week in the world of crochet and yarn and knitting and all that kind of stuff for me anyway, so I basically have the exact same things to show you. There's just slightly more done in the whips department. So anyway, first thing, I do want to remind everybody that my first pattern design is now available. Oh no! It is the Killmonger Cowl, named for the character from Black Panther. And this is it. So it's a cowl made with two different colors of yarn. This one is a sport weight version, so the pattern is written in a sport weight version. I'm working on a fingering weight version, so I'll show you that soon. And it uses puff stitches and V-stitches and double crochets and half double crochets, so it's a relatively beginner pattern, because even if you don't know how to do a puff stitch or a V-stitch, it's all explained in the pattern as well. And so I'll put a link down below. You can find that on Ravlery. And as part of the pattern release, we are also doing a crochet along. So it's the Killmonger Cowl, C-A-L, and you can make anything Avengers related. And as long as you think it's Avengers related, that's all that matters. So the pattern, the yarn, the color, whatever. If you can say this is why it's Avengers related, you're good to go. And anything yarny, so knitting, crochet, cross stitch, no sewing please. And there's a Ravlery group, I'll put all the links below, and you can enter into the chatter thread on Ravlery as well as the finished object thread. And if you make the Killmonger Cowl, my pattern, you can do 2 entries into the cowl, so you have a better chance to win. If you make a Killmonger Cowl, 2 Killmonger Cowls, 4 Killmonger Cowls, why not? And then if you use Instagram, also do the hashtag Killmonger Cowl, and you'll be entered to win a prize there too. We do have some prizes set up already, so of course, whomever wins will get a copy of the Killmonger Cowl, the pattern, for free. And if you don't, or if you already have the Killmonger Cowl pattern, then you can choose another pattern on Ravlery, and I will purchase it and send it to you. We also have now Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet has offered 3 of her patterns. So we'll have 3 different winners who will be able to pick any of her patterns that you want. And I've made a couple, and I just tested the Mirage hat for her, which is now released. Getting ready to make the Falling Ivy shawl. So she has a ton of patterns and they're really great. I'm testing the Bellatrix for her too. So I need to go get my yarn ready for that. So many great patterns, and you can pick from any of those that you want, and she will send that to you as well. I'm going to Stitches SoCal at the beginning of November up in Pasadena, and so I will buy some yarn from there for you all, try to get some local stuff so that people who don't live here can get some yarn that you might not already have access to, make some stitch markers, all that kind of good stuff. So if you want to contribute prizes, send me an email. If you have any questions about the cowl, send me an email. It's TheTattedTatterCA@gmail.com. I'll put all of that up here and then all of that in the the box below, and it's gonna be fun. A couple people have already posted in the chatter thread, and what they're making looks beautiful, and I'm super excited to see how it all turns out. And I always love seeing the interesting ideas that people come up with to fill in with a cowl, what kind of creativity people have in what matches with a cowl. And of course you can, if you watch Hannah at the Cozy Cottage Crochet, she's doing a nerd along right now too, so of course those two things would go hand in hand. So you can double dip. And the cowl will be over on November 16th, so make sure everything is posted by then, and we'll be good to go. I'll give some updates as we go along, and I'm super excited, so yay! Okay, so we will move on to finished objects. I have not finished anything this week, but I did finish 2 objects last week, and you haven't seen them yet. So, the first, I finally finished my first knit project with fingering weight yarn. The Faded Unicorn's Cowl. So this is the tallest cowl in existence, I think. It barely fits into the screen, but I absolutely love it, and I'm so proud of it. And it made me so much more comfortable with knitting because it did take a long time, and I got to practice a lot of knit stitch, and so it's done, and changing colors and all that kind of fun stuff. So I finished it, I bound off, I blocked it, and it's so soft and warm. It smells so woolly. And for the most part, I did pretty well. There's a little bit of mistake in the first 2 rows of the rib, but you cannot see them. And then when I changed colors, I realized that I was pulling it too tight, so there's some like tight areas where the color changes are. But again, you can't really see it, and luckily all the color changes are on top of each other, so you can put that in the back. But I think it turned out pretty well. My stitches are nice and even. I had the occasional dropped stitch, but luckily the class that I took on Craftsy taught you how to fix that, so that was good. Yeah, I'm just super impressed with it. I'm very proud of myself. It hasn't really been cool enough to wear it yet, but soon. It's actually cooling off enough. I have the door for the balcony open. I haven't had to turn the air conditioning on in a couple days. It's very nice. So the pattern for this is the Fast Fade Cowl from Molly Klein Design. And I made some modifications only in that I added an extra color, I shortened the ribbing a little bit, added some extra rows, that kind of stuff, because I wanted to use up all of the yarn that I had. And the yarn is from Long Dog Yarn. She's based out of LA, and it's her unicorn fade that was a special for the LA Yarn Crawl 2018. So, yay! I'm excited to see Long Dog Yarn at Stitches SoCal, to see what she has, because I think this is the only yarn I've ever bought from her, and I really like it, and so I want to get some more. And then maybe get you all some, since it's an LA yarn. Although it's pretty widely available, I think. I think she's pretty out there, so, like, in the world. But yeah, I love it. It smells so good. And all right, so the other thing that I finished is a long time whip. I started this in January, and I haven't worked on it since February. And when I finished the cowl, I didn't really have anything else that I was working on right at the moment. So I went ahead and pulled out a whip, and it took me like an hour and a half, and I finished it. So this is, I'm calling it my honeybee cowl, because the colors and then the linen stitch, I think, kind of look like bees. But it's the Calm Cowl. I forget the name of the pattern designer, so I'll put it up. And then the yarn is Mrs. Crosby. This is the Hatbox base, which is a superwash merino cashmere and silk blend, and the color is Buttercup. And it's just a simple cowl. Like I said, I started this in January, so I had only been crocheting and crocheting with fingering weight for just a couple months, and so I made a million mistakes, but it doesn't matter because you can't really tell And so the big thing is like I joined incorrectly, so now it's like super, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, which is good, but it's like diagonal instead of straight up and down. So it's like, wee, the join. But again, you just put that in the back. Nobody's gonna know. And the pattern was written for a much toothier, much like denser yarn, definitely not for a silk cashmere merino blend. But because the pattern is relatively simple and easily adaptable, it worked out well for this. And I started it for the single skein, what do they call it? One Skein Wonderland Cowl. I knew I was gonna remember. And so I finally finished it. And it is also really soft because the silk and cashmere blend, and it's really nice and drapey, and I love the colors that they're kind of neutral, and so I think this will be a nice cowl to wear again once the weather starts to cool off a little bit more. So yeah, those are my finished objects. 2 cowls. I was in a cowl phase for a little while, I think. Probably still am. And then I have 3 whips going right now. And the first one I'll show you is my fingering weight version of the Killmonger Cowl. So this is my Quirky Monday Crafts llama bag that I love so much because it's an excellent size for medium to bigger projects. And so this is where I am so far on this. So because it's fingering weight yarn, I'm making it much wider and much longer. And so it follows the same stitches, but I've decided to make the puff stitch panels smaller because the puff stitches use so much more yarn than the V-stitch sections, and I didn't want you to end up with like none of one color and then a bunch of the other color when you bought them to go together or whatever, found them to go together. Anyway, so I also think it adds like an interesting dynamic, an interesting look. So I've got 2 of the V-stitch panels done, 1 puff stitch panel, and I started on the next puff stitch panel. And the yarn that I'm using is Forbidden Fiber Company, and the idea behind the Killmonger, as you can probably see, is that one is variegated and one is tonal, semi-solid. And so this is the variegated. I'm gonna be able to at least 1 more panel out of this, if not 2. And as long as the puff stitch yarn holds out, which I think it will, I can do that. Because you need to have an equal number of panels because it's worked flat and then you seam it. And so if you have an odd number of panels, you're gonna end up with 2 panels next to each other when you seam it. So anyway, this is the Aunt Petunia colorway from Forbidden Fiber Company. This is her, which base is this? This is the Superstition base. So it's 25% superwash, 25% nylon. So this is the band and the color. So the solid is the Charmed color. So this is Charmed. And I love this like burgundy color. Oh, it's so lovely. And then yeah, Aunt Petunia is this color as the variegated. And you'll see I started writing the number of grams on here so that I know when I finish how much I actually used and how much I have left and all that kind of stuff to get a more accurate estimate for you all and do that. So once I finish this, I'm making modifications. I'm just writing down the changes that I make in my regular Killmonger Cowl pattern. So you can see that's the front cover of the pattern. And then there's a whole page on yarn and materials, the abbreviations that I use. I explain all of the stitches and then how to block it. And then the actual pattern is only 1 page, so it's printable if you just want to print that 1 page. And then of course all the copyright information and thank yous and all that kind of stuff. But so once I finish the fingering weight version and modifications, I'll take some pictures and I'll update the pattern. And anyone who has purchased the Killmonger Cowl will automatically get an update with the fingering weight version. So if you want to make this version, you can too. And I'm hoping to have this done by the middle to end of this week, so that I can get that out for everybody, especially if you want to make it for the Killmonger Cowl. So that is that. And then ooh, Peanut's sleeping right there. I almost threw this on the dog. Hi, Peanut. I'll just put this over here. Okay, another whip that I am working on is for the Sock Along 2018. So a bunch of different podcasters and bloggers and yarn dyers and general yarny people are doing the Sock Along 2018. And so the idea is to make crochet socks. You can make knit socks as well, but they're doing all kinds of blogs on crochet socks, how to pick yarn, what kind of patterns, the differences between different patterns, like top cuff down or toe up, that kind of thing, all kinds of stuff. And so I had been wanting to make a pair of crochet socks for a very long time. I've had yarn and a pattern sitting around that I wanted to do to make crochet socks, and so this was the perfect motivator. And so right now, it's living in my other Quirky Monday Crafts bag, my little roses. I love roses. And this is one of the smaller bags. I think this is the small size bag. And she's doing bag updates too. So, and I think as she finishes them, she's putting them up on Etsy. So you should go check out and see what she's got. Quirky Monday Crafts. It's Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. So yeah, so the pattern that I'm using is from the Crochet Sock Collection by Vicki Brown. I really love Vicki's patterns in her yarn. I do her 100-gram shawl club, so every other month I get a skein of yarn and a pattern to go with it for a single skein shawl, and I love it. And so I bought this book a long time ago, and so the sock that I am making out of this are the Spring Fling socks. So it has a really interesting stitch pattern, but is relatively simple. And then the yarn that I'm using is Molly Klein Design. It's her Sweet Sock fingering weight base, so it's a superwash nylon blend. The colorway is Blueberry Pie, and this is where I am so far. So I've done the cuff and then all the way through to the opening for the heel flap, so it's a heel flap sock, and it's worked cuff down. And so now I'm on the foot part of the sock. And it's taking a while because the stitch pattern is a little bit tedious, but I think it is so gorgeous in this yarn. And I'll put up a picture. I took a good picture so you can see the stitch pattern. But I really like it. The only issue is that I went to go and try to put it on my foot, and it's not going on my foot. So I can't get this part over my heel. So I have a question for you all, and I haven't been working on these because if I need to rip it out, then I don't want to keep working on them, is if that's the case, do I need to go ahead and rip it out and try to make it bigger, like use a bigger hook or something? I was on gauge. Maybe I have big feet, for my height anyway. So is that the case? Can I block it a little bit? Or once I block it, will it become a little bit more stretchy? Because I know part of the problem with crochet socks is that crochet is not as stretchy as knit fabric. Because the cuff fits great. It's just getting this part over my heel when I'm trying to put the sock on. So I wanted to ask, let me know if you think I should rip it out and just use a bigger hook and try to make a bigger sock, or if I can block it out, or once I finish it and I put the heel on and everything, if that'll make a difference, all that kind of stuff. Please let me know. This is the Blueberry Pie. It's so pretty. I love it. And it's very like fall, wintry, so I think it's perfect for right now. But yeah, Sock Along 2018. It's very exciting. And maybe I'll get bold and try to knit a pair of socks for this sock along, depending on how this goes. That might be my next knit project, is some socks. So, my last whip is living in my Republica Unicornia bag. I absolutely love it so much. And this is my current knitting whip. And I am making the knitted version of the Loft shawl from Faye Dasper Hughes Designs. So I made the DK crochet version in that wine colorways from the John Arbin Textiles Knit by Numbers. And so this is the knitted version from Faye Dasper Hughes. And I am using Lemonade Shop yarns. It's her DK base. It's, is it 100% superwash or is it, I want to say it's 100% superwash. It's in a little dollar store notions pouch. Oh no, it's a superwash nylon blend, 75-25. And the colors are Glenda, Sleepover, and Sharkbait. So with the Sharkbait being one of the colors, I immediately, as soon as I hear the word Sharkbait, have to go Sharkbait from Finding Nemo. Because my sister and I watched that movie a million times and I love it. And I figured it would be perfect for the knit along. Make a Sharkbait shawl. So this is where I am. I've actually made some good progress on this because I'm not to where it's super wide yet. But the idea behind this shawl is that you do 3 skeins and you kind of alternate between solid and stripe sections with the colors. And so I've done the first solid section, the first stripe section, the second solid section, and now I'm on the second stripe section. And I just love the way these colors are working up together. I love that it's very lightly speckled. I think it makes it interesting but doesn't detract from the kind of starkness of the stripes and the solid sections. And I'm loving working on it. The pattern repeat is very easy to memorize. Once I figured out the details, which I did because Faye has a video tutorial, so when you purchase the pattern, you have access to the video tutorial. I would not have been able to do this without that because I am very new to knitting. And so I wouldn't have known how to do the edges, and she has tips on how to carry up the yarn and all that kind of stuff. So it's very like curly right now, but that'll easily block out, and I think we'll make it have a nice shape and drape. So this is it, and these are my new Likes. So I got the interchangeable set. These are 4mm, so US size 6, and then a 40-inch cord, and they're the 5-inch long needles. So, yay! We're lofting again. Oh, goodness gracious. So I'm loving that. And I've actually been working on that the most, which is why I need to work on the fingering weight version of the Killmonger so I can get it done. But I've been loving working on this, so I'm excited to get that done. Okay, and so the other stuff that I want to show you, I'll show you some stashquisitions, stashay away, happy yarn, all the goodness. And then, so what I did was, I didn't have anything ready to go when I finished my most recent round of projects. And so once I finished the honeybee cowl, I decided I would go ahead and get a bunch of stuff ready to go, especially because the holidays are coming up. And so I wound the yarn, I put them with the patterns in the bag and all the notions and hooks and needles and all that kind of stuff that I'm gonna need for them. And so I will show you all of those so that you can see the yarn and the patterns and things. And then as I make them, you'll know what they are. So first we'll do the stash stuff. Uh-oh. I always leave my notions pouches out of my whips when I put them back. This is the socks. I have to put it back in there now or I will not. I will lose it. Okay, so I did get some things in the mail, so I'm on a yarn ban until Stitches, SoCal, but I still do some clubs. So I showed you the Classic Society from Countess Ablaze in the UK that I did, and like it still comes in this gorgeous box. And so this is the last one I think I'm gonna do, but it was nice to try it. And so I'll show you what's in this box. And so this is, it's called the Classic Society, and this particular, I think it's on a year basis, is based off of classical architecture. And so this month, the place, and this is a spoiler alert by the way if you haven't gotten this yet and you're a subscriber, is St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow? Yeah, in Moscow, Russia. So this is the inspiration for the yarn, and it has really cool like art and stuff in here, as well as kind of descriptions of the cathedral, about the architecture, all that kind of cool stuff. And it always comes with like a little gift. So this one is actually a Russian doll. The only thing about this is that I cannot for the life of me get it open. So it may be a decoration, it may not, we'll see. But anyway, it came with that this time. And then the yarn, there is a skein of their Grand Merino fingering base. So it's 100% superwash, and it is gorgeous. This is the Ivan the Terrible colorway, which is really interesting because Ivan the Terrible was quite terrible. But I think it's gorgeous. I love, 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 love these colors. This would make a gorgeous, like really lacy shawl, I think. Because you can't make socks because it's 100% superwash. There's no nylon in there, so it wouldn't be very sturdy. But it's 400 meters to 100 grams for the fingering weight yarn. So there you go. That's the first skein. And then the second, apparently every couple of months during the boxes, every box so often, you get a sock blank. So this is, I'll go ahead and open it up. The second thing of yarn, and so this is 75% superwash, 25% nylon base, and the color is called Red Square. It's 400 meters per 100 grams. So there's 2 strands, so there's 200 meters per strand. And so this is the color. And I love how pretty this is. I love the colors too on this, especially this kind of like aqua marine color. So I think it's just gorgeous. And so of course you can, there's that end, and then there's the 2 ends this side, so you can pull both strands. And so if you're making socks, you can make 2 socks and they'll be similar colors, I guess. Honestly, I've never used a sock blank, so I'm not completely sure how that works. But maybe if I get crazy and I want to go ahead and make some knitted socks for the sock cowl, I can use this one. So yeah, so those are the yarns for the Countess Ablaze Classic Society box, and I'm glad I have them in my life. But like I said, I'm not doing that box anymore. I like it, I just think it's a little expensive because it has to come from the UK, and so the cost really isn't worth it in the long run, but it was really nice to try, and I really liked this, and if you have the funds and want to do it, I think it's a great idea. And I really like Countess Ablaze. After everything from the Tits Out Collective, I'm really glad I could support them in that for a little bit. So that is that. And then I also got one other subscription box that I do. So the Yarn Over truck which is a truck full of yarn that drives around Southern California. They have their clubs, and so I'm part of both of them. So each one is every 6 months, so they alternate then, so I get something every month. And one is the Avengers that I'm doing, so I showed you the Nebula color. That was the most recent from them. And then the other one is just the regular yarn club. And that one is, of course, also nerdy. But that one is, they do different fandoms each time. And so this month, the fandom is Outlander. So if you've never seen Outlander, it's a show on Showtime based off of a book, and a woman like travels back in time to Scotland, and it's basically a romance novel in TV form, which is great. It's hard to say, because it's like, even when you're talking about like time travel and that kind of stuff, it's still not the most believable thing in the world. But the character relationships are a lot of fun, and it's really interesting, and you learn a lot about 1700s Scotland. I've only finished the first season, so we'll see if I decide to keep watching it, but it's pretty great that they're doing an Outlander theme. And so the yarn is this gorgeousness. So it's supposed to be kind of representative of the Scottish countryside, which is incredibly green. And so this is from Apple Tree Knits. So all of the yarns for this club are dyed by Apple Tree Knits, and out of New Jersey. And so this, of course, is the Outlander color and the groovy fingering base. So it is the standard base with 384 yards to 100 grams. And 1% of the proceeds go to support sustainable family farming, which is really cool. So Apple Tree Knits, and that's the color. And it's really nice. So it's a single ply, and very tonal, right? Obviously. So I think that's great. Okay. And then it comes with all kinds of fun stuff. So, and this is why, like, I feel like this kind of club is something that I'm more likely to participate in, is because you get the yarn, you get a pattern, you get all kinds of cool stuff, and it's local, so it's a lot cheaper because I don't pay very much for shipping, and the shipping is actually included in the cost of the subscription and all that kind of fun stuff. Plus, I love supporting the Yarn Over truck because those ladies are amazing. But yeah, so it does come with patterns. So there is a crochet pattern and a knit pattern. I'll show you the knit pattern because I'm probably not going to make it because it looks a little too complicated for where I am right now. But it's the Outlander Shawl by Juliana, oh, I'm not going to pronounce your last name correctly, Lustinator, something like that. But it's very pretty, and it looks really great in the kind of tonal semi-solid. And so that's that. And then the crochet pattern is from Stitches and Woes, who's doing the mystery crochet along for the Avengers box from Yarn Over Truck. And it's the Forget Me Not triangle scarf. And so Misha Boxer is the person behind Stitches and Woes, and she's out of LA too, so that's nice. It's very local. And so this is the Outlander, the Forget Me Not triangle scarf. That's what she calls it. And so you can see the colors, and you can see the shape. So it's very triangle shaped, which is really interesting. I haven't really seen a lot of scarves shaped that way, and I think it would be really nice, interesting for wearing. And then what I'm thinking about doing is, one of my friends who actually got me to watch Outlander is like obsessed with it, and so I think she would really enjoy this as like a Christmas present. So I think I'm gonna do that for her. So then, like I said, it also comes with some cool stuff. So one is this lovely Mrs. Barrett's Blend, which is an Outlander inspired tee from geekytees.com. And I think that's hilarious, and it smells fantastic. It's just a black tee. there's that. And then what they sent in the last box, which I think I showed you guys this. In the first one of the year was a magnetic slap bracelet from Coco Knits. And so it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a slap bracelet that has a magnet on it, so that while you are knitting or crocheting, you can keep things on it. I think this is especially helpful if you have like a million ends to weave in, because then you can keep your yarn needle and your snips on it. And so, of course, what they sent this time was snips and yarn needles. So it's all of these are from Coco Knits. They're accessories that go with the magnetic slap bracelet. So these are bent tip tapestry needles, which I'm really glad to have because I don't have any bent tip ones yet. And there's 2 small, 2 large, so size 14 and size 13. They're nickel plated, all that kind of fun stuff. So there's those. And then the yarn snips are really cool. They come with this, I don't know if it's real leather, but leather protective cover. And then they are just straight up snips. So perfect for, they seem really sharp. That's fun. Perfect for when you're, like I said, weaving in ends and things. So that's great. And then yeah, and of course the tapestry needles and then the yarn snips just fit right on there. So while you're weaving in ends, you can switch it out and then snip away and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I think I'm actually going to use that for big like blankets and colorwork projects, anything that you have to do a lot of end weaving. And as far as I know, all of the gifts are gonna be for the club each time are gonna be accessories for this. So I'm excited to see what else comes from that and with that. So that is the Yarn Club from the Yarn Over truck. And they always send like a cool little description of everything and where it comes from and the inspiration and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So we have that. I did purchase a pattern recently, and so I wanted to show you all this. This is just the first page, but look at how pretty that is. What an idea. Like, it's just genius. To use the dark semi-solid and then a highly variegated, like rainbow bright kind of color inside. I just love it. So this is the Akiko shawl from Justine Whaley? You never know. People could pronounce their names in different ways. But you can see her link down there. She's also on Ravlery, which is where I got this. And so she just released it, and I saw it, and I was like, gotta have it. I know I have some variegated yarns that'll work well with that, and then I can get some. This may be one of the things that I look for yarn for at Stitches, is to find the right yarn to go for this pattern. So I absolutely love it. It's a paid pattern on Ravlery, and of course she has it on Etsy too. So absolutely love it. And then I did get some of my crochet magazines that I get. So I'm a member of the Crochet Guild of America, and so they have a magazine that they send out. And so this is the crochet magazine. And I actually liked a couple of patterns in here. I say that way because sometimes I don't like any of the patterns because it's a little older, like the audience is a little bit older. And so sometimes the patterns can just not be anything that I'm really interested in making. But one that I liked was the button-up slouchy hat and cowl. So I think that's a really cute pattern, and I love the buttons. So I might make that at some point. I also liked the Tuscany beanie. think that's a really cool pattern, and it's crochet cables too, which I haven't really done. So I like that one. And I think those were the two that I marked. So yeah, got that, and I'll have those patterns. And then I also got my Inside Crochet, which is a UK-based crochet magazine. This is issue 106. And so there's the cover. And this is all kind of like vintage inspired projects, including this really pretty scarf that I've seen from Zines and Rogers. I saw it on her Instagram that I would be really interested in making. All kinds of cool stuff. So let me turn to the page that has all of the patterns listed on it. I haven't really looked through this one too much yet, but there's a couple of nice scarves and some cute little accessories and things. So I think there'll be at least a couple of things in here that I'll want to make, including the Zines and Rogers scarf, because it's really nice. It's very classic looking, but still relevant, I guess. And they also always send a gift, which is one of the reasons why I do the print version. Plus I just like having it in hand because I'm going to print out the patterns anyway. So, but it came with this really cute little tin and then stitch markers, which I don't use these as stitch markers for crochet because they're a lot harder to get open and closed, but they make really good progress keepers for knitting because you don't have to open and close them all the time. And because they're sharp, they get stuck sometimes in the yarn. So I don't like opening and closing them, but they're perfect for knitting. So, okay, so it's already been a very long podcast. So stop kicking the table. I'm gonna go quickly through the whips that I was telling you that aren't technically whips yet, but they will be soon. But all the stuff that I prepped to get working on. So, oh, and I'm drinking some tea from Claudia, Crochet Luna, from one of her buttons. She always sends tea with her buttons. In my Disneyland mug. Okay, so let's do this. First thing is actually technically a whip, but I won't be working on it again for a while. This is a bag from Molly Klein Design. This is one of her sweater size bags. And what I am making is the Rapture shawl from Rosina of Zines and Rogers. So I started this last month and I just stopped working on it to work on other things. So I will start this back up because I do love having a giant shawl around this time of year, fall, winter. But it's kind of a dormant whip right now. But the pattern is the Rapture shawl, like I said, from Rosina of Zines and Roger. And this was a paid pattern that I got on Ravlery. So that's her version. And it uses, as you can see, a bunch of different colors, different types of yarn. And so this, the starting yarn, is my hand dyed that I used with avocado pits and skins. So it's a very light pink. And this is the Knit Picks Stroll Fingering. So it's a superwash nylon blend. And then that is going to blend into this, which is a peekaboo yarn. This is the color Peach Blossom. It's a superwash nylon base. I used this for my Hotel of Bees, and obviously I did not use very much, so it's gonna be the next kind of blended color. And then that is going to go into this. So this is also Peekaboo Yarns. This is her Zara colorway, and I got it at Make One Yarn Company, which is my local yarn shop near where I work. And Peekaboo Yarns is really, really local to where I work also. And I saw this yarn and I bought all the skeins that they had, which was only like 2. And then I went back, and every time I went back and I saw it, I bought it again. So I have like 5 skeins of this because I love it so much. And I'm finally gonna use one of them. So this is gonna be the the final color in the main part of the shawl. And then there's a brioche edging on the bottom. So a brioche, but with crochet. And so the colors that I'm using for that are these. So, oh, you can see the sparkles, yay, artificial light. So this gorgeousness is Western Sky Knits. It's a superwash nylon stellina blend, and I just absolutely love it. It's so pretty. I got this off the Yarn Over truck. And then this is a Molly Klein design. This is her black balloon, which I used for my Deadpool shawl and hat that I made for my husband. So, love these two together. I think it's gonna make a really, 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 really pretty brioche effect. And I'm super excited about it. But it'll be a little while before I get there. Because I've got some other things I have to get out of the way first. Some gifts and things, and then some things that I just have been wanting to get done for a long time. And so this is the work on it as you can project, because, and only at home, because it's obviously too big to take to work with me or anything. So slowly over time that'll get done. And then I have this, which is in my Republica Unicornia Mermaid Unicorn bag, which I've shown you before. I love this bag. It's so sturdy and gorgeous. And this is housing my sister's Christmas presents, or Christmas presents to be, I should say. So I'm gonna make my sister a hat, the Mirage hat / cowl pattern that I tested for Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet. So that's the hat. And as I said, she has released this, so it's now a paid pattern on Ravlery. And if you participate in the Killmonger Cowl, you could win it. Why not? So I'm gonna use this yarn, which is like a burnt orange rust kind of color. So this is Molly Klein design. This is her DK base, and this is the pumpkin pie colorway. And my sister has kind of a deep red hair, and so I think this will go really well with her hair and her skin tone and everything. And then from the San Diego Yarn Crawl, you saw these. These are my You So Sporty yarns in the Forest Fern colorway. So I'm going to just make a very simple cowl in a similar stitch to the hat, so to go with the hat. And then this will be perfect with her red hair, and she has like fair skin, so that'll be perfect. Luckily she's got a skinny neck, so 100 grams should do it. So that's that. I also have this. I think I can't show you. Is this the one I can't show you? Yes, so I can't show you the yarn or anything for this, but I do want to, because it's a Christmas gift for someone who watches the podcast, but I do want to show you the bag. So this is also from Republica Unicornia, and it is adorable. All these cute little cats. And then it's a triangle shape. So it is deceptively roomy on the inside, and is also really interesting. So I saw that she had these bags, and then when I saw the cat patterns, I was like, mine. I got these a while ago. This is just the first time that I've actually used them, and then therefore shown them to you. So cute. And then the other one that's in a Republica Unicornia triangle-shaped cat bag is Sushi Cats. Oh, they're so cute. And then, of course, I have one of Claudia's pins from Crochet Luna. Crochet powers, activate. And so that's the bag. It has a little chili pepper on it. So cute. And then, of course, a little unicorn stitch marker, because obviously. And so what's in here, my aunt is turning 75 in a couple of weeks, my dad's oldest sister. And so we're going to Phoenix, where she lives, to surprise her with a surprise birthday party. I'm pretty sure she doesn't watch this podcast, so I think I can say that. And so I'm gonna make her a shawl for her birthday, and my aunt is very tall and, you know, it's elegant, long limbs, very prominent features. And so when I was thinking about what to make her, I think she looks a lot like what Professor Trelawney would look like in real life. And I haven't seen the movies, so I'm not comparing her to the actress. This is just based on reading the Harry Potter books. And I think that she would love and look good in and all that kind of a Professor Trelawney style kind of shawl. So, which of course I can also enter in the nerd along. So this is a shawl and a cake from Lion Brand. This is the Lotus Blossom colorway, and it is obviously sparkly, and it's cotton and acrylic, I believe. Where's the... 61% cotton, 34% acrylic, 5% other fiber, so that's the sparkly part. And it's 481 yards. Sorry, all of my magazines are falling over. 481 yards to 150 grams. And I think this would be really pretty as a nice lacy shawl. And so I went online and I found from Lion Brand a free pattern specifically for this type of yarn. Different colorway, but so it's a free crochet pattern on Lion Brand's website, lionbrand.com. It's the Pinnacles shawl, designed by Teresa Chorzepa. And so you can kind of see it. It's kind of got a V-stitch pattern. Very lacy, very simple. I'll probably make it wider so it's more of a wrap than a, because it says shawl, but it's really a scarf because it's just a rectangle. So I think I'll make it a little bit wider so it's more of a wrap. And it's really, really, really simple. And I should be able to finish it pretty quick, which is good because, ooh, stop kicking the stand, Stephanie. You know it's bad when I have to talk about myself in the third person. It's coming up soon. It is already October, whatever it is, 6th or 7th or whatever. I don't know what day it is, but it's already the first weekend in October. And this is coming up soon. So I think it's like the 21st is her birthday, somewhere around there. So I'll have to start working on that soon and get that done. But I think it'll be perfect. Dye-Dye's Professor Trelawney shawl, because her name is Diane, we call her Dye-Dye. Anyway, so I got that. And then I already showed you, this is from, is this Molly? Yeah, this is a Molly Klein design bag. The yarn, so this is the Nebula yarn for the Super Nerdy, or for the, Super Nerdy Yarn Club, the Avengers Club, to go with the Mystery Crochet along. So I put that in there. I have to cake it up, obviously. And that's it. So that's everything that is in the works. And of course, I told you, keep leaving stuff out. The Rapture pattern, I gotta put back in here. I will forget. Get in there. All right. So yeah, that's what I got, and it's very exciting. This is an extra long podcast than what I've been doing recently, but I think it went well. So you can find me online at TheTattedTatter on Instagram, TattedTatter on Ravlery. We now have our Ravlery group, so TattedTatter podcast is our Ravlery group. I'll put all the links and everything down below. I do have a lot of stuff going on the next couple of weeks. I should still be able to podcast this coming weekend, next Sunday. I have a retreat that I'm helping lead for young adults, but it ends on Sunday morning, so I'll be home. And because we're retreating and we'll be sitting and listening to people talk and hanging out in the mountains, I'll have plenty of time to knit and crochet. When we go to Phoenix, I probably will not be able to because we are, not coming back till the following Monday. But I'll keep you all updated on all of that. So please do check out the Ravlery group. Check out the Killmonger Cowl if you're interested in making it. The fingering weight version will be ready soon, and I will post on Instagram when it's all up and running. And again, if you've already purchased the pattern, it'll automatically update, and so Ravlery will email you when that is available. Please do also check out the cowl. Again, it's pretty much anything if it makes you think of Avengers or any Avengers character, or even really any Marvel character in any way. Feel free to enter it into the cowl, and we'll get those prizes continuing, and that goes through November 16th. So thank you all so much. I will see you next week. Bye.